Hello and welcome back to Best Bets. What's going on? I am Matt O'Leary alongside Joe Manniello from Newsday. Joe, how's it going, my friend?
Doing good, Matt. How are you?
Doing pretty good. It was a tough week for us here in week 4. Wasn't too kind. I went 2-4, you 1-5, so that brings you to 10-10-1, and me to 5-15-1. Ugly quarter of the season.
Yeah, tough start to the year.
Absolutely. But right back on the horse, we have the Jets playing in London. We have the Giants and Cowboys, so a lot to get into this week for the locals, a good game of the week. So we'll start it off with the Jets and the Falcons. The Falcons are favored by 3 points here. Who do you like in this one?
Yeah, I mean, this is a couple weeks ago, last week, this looked like such a boring game. But now that the Jets won, I feel like it's a little bit more of an exciting game. Last week, I was saying how we won't be picking the Jets all year. But in a weird way, I kind of like them this week. Getting 3 points against the Falcons team, there's no home field advantage here. So to me, the spread is a little bit too high. I mean, I know it's only 3 points, but it could be a one or 2 point game. Who knows? Both teams are 1-3. Falcons would be 0-4 if they didn't beat the Giants on a last-second kick. I mean, I don't think they should be favored by 3 over most teams. So I think this will be a close game the whole way. I think the Jets will kind of treat this as like the Super Bowl. I mean, they're a young team. I'm sure you saw the clip after the game. That nice Coach Salah game ball, giving the game balls out. Woody Johnson gave him a game ball. And I just think this will be they'll approach this game like, they'll be super pumped for it. And to go into to go from 0-3 to go into the bye week at 2-3. I mean, listen, the Jets aren't making the playoffs. They might not even win 5 or 6 games, but they totally turned the season around just from a positive aspect. There was talk after they got shut out in Denver, looking at their schedule, like, 0-8, 0-10, is this team going to go 0-17? I know it's a little hyperbole, but the way they played the first 3 weeks, it wasn't that crazy to think. And now, Zach Wilson looked great last week. Defense is playing well. They had 7 sacks against Ryan Tannehill. I think they'll get after Matt Ryan. I think it'll be a really close game, 30-27, something like that. I think either team can win. It's a toss-up. But I think the Jets are going to win the game. How about that? Jets to win the game outright. And, who are the Falcons? They lost at home to the Eagles 32-6 in their home opener. They lost last week to Washington, a game they had won. I don't think they're a team that's going to guarantee to win. I think this is a good game between 2 bad teams. I think the Jets are going to show up. It's going to be a high-scoring game, and I like the Jets to cover and even win. So Jets +3.
Joe, am I crazy for agreeing with you? I'm taking the Jets too at +3. I would have been a little more comfortable if it was 3.5. It opened at 4, which was a lot more enticing, but I'm going to do it at 3 points for a lot of the reasons that you just said. I think that looking at this Jets offense, they've really struggled except for this past week against Tennessee, but Atlanta's defense is worse in football. They give up points to pretty much everyone except for the Giants. They were the only team that wasn't able to put up points against them. And, comparatively on the offensive side, they've left a lot to be desired too. I don't think Matt Ryan's had, the start to the year that he was hoping for. His yards per attempt is pretty low. He's not really getting the ball down the field. And I think it'll be a high-scoring, close game. I like the over in this one, too. I think it's only 46, which seemed really low to me. But with getting 3 points, I don't think Atlanta really deserves to be favored by 3 points over anybody. I know it's the Jets, but coming off a big win, and I think they're riding high on some momentum right now. And like you said, if you get into the bye week at 2-3, who knows? Maybe that saves your season from completely going off the rails. So I'm going to agree with you. I like the Jets +3 as well.
Yep.
As for the Giants, they will be taking on the Cowboys. The Cowboys are favored by 7.5 here. Who do you like in this game?
Yeah, same situation. I don't. You shouldn't overreact to 1 week, but I don't think it's an overreaction to think the Giants can stay in this game. NFC East rivalry game, Giants and Cowboys. They usually play close games. For it felt like for a decade. I think it was a few years they played every Sunday night. Every year they had a Sunday night game. I remember JPP had the blocked field goal one year. Witten caught a touchdown last second. They always play close games. And I think the Giants, the Jets had a great win last week. I think the Jets win was a little bit better because it was so, the Jets seemed like they were never going to win. But the Giants one was right there with them. To come back from down 21-10 in the fourth quarter at the Superdome, such a great win. And I think they build off that. I don't think they're going to win the game, but I think they could win the game. I wouldn't be shocked if they won the game. But Dallas is playing so well right now. Dak Prescott looks like the MVP candidate. The running game's going. And I think they have too much to lose. I think they're too good not to win this game, but I think it's going to be a close game, like a 28-24 kind of game. Daniel Jones has played really well. And surprisingly, even though they were hurting at receiver, the passing game was great last week. Broccoli had the winning touchdown, and I think that's the kind of win you build off of. So it's for similar reasons why I like the Jets. I think this is a game. Giants will build off this game, feel good about themselves, and I think it'll be a close NFC East battle. So 7.5 just feels like too many points, so I'll take the Giants.
Okay, I'm going to go the other direction here and go with the Cowboys. The number seems a touch high, so I'm not as confident in it as I was with the Jets pick just a second ago here. But the reason why I'm going with Dallas is they surprised me this past week. I really thought that with how the Carolina Panthers were playing, that they were going to go in and it would be a much closer game, and it would kind of put the Cowboys on notice for not really being as good as what everyone initially thought they'd be. But they played really, really good, and I think this offense is just firing on all cylinders right now. I think without question, Dak is a shoo-in for the comeback player of the year. I thought he looked phenomenal against a really, really good defense against Carolina. I don't think the Giants' defense is nearly as good as Carolina's, and I don't think they really have the pass rush to get home against Dak Prescott, which I think is something that you need to rattle him a little bit. So while in years gone by, the Giants have played the Cowboys rather tough, I think that having a good pass rush has helped, and that's not something really that's been a strong suit for them. I agree that they're coming off a nice win, a very surprising win against the Saints, but I think that Dallas wins this one by 10 points, like a 30-20 kind of a game, so I'm going to take Dallas here. As for the game of the week, Sunday night matchup should be a good one. Bills and the Chiefs. The Chiefs are favored by 2.5. Who do you like here?
Yeah, it's a great game. It's a rematch of last year's AFC Championship game, which the Chiefs won 38-24 after the Bills jumped out to a 10-0 lead. So I was feeling really good about my Buffalo Super Bowl pick, and that fell apart real fast. It's always risky to pick against Patrick Mahomes when the spread is so low, similar to like Aaron Rodgers or Tom Brady. But I'm going to do it again. I don't think Kansas City team is as unbeatable as it was during the Super Bowl season or even last year. I think the Chargers showed the blueprint to beat them in, was it week 2? Week 3. And I think Josh Allen's playing really well. I mean, the thing is with the Buffalo, they've looked great the last few weeks, but they haven't played anyone. They shut out the Texans 40-0, Dolphins 30-0. So this is a huge upgrade in competition here. But I just don't think the Chiefs are like that dominant team where the spread's only 2.5. That tells you something. Basically, you think that it'd be a little bit over 3 if people thought it'd be a little bit closer. So I think that this is a toss-up game. I know it's risky picking against the Chiefs, and the Bills kind of have to show you. I'm sure you're going to take the Chiefs, but like a lot of people probably won't take the Bills because they haven't really won that game yet. But I think also last week they played against Houston, so it's almost like I wonder how much time they really spent game planning for Houston. I mean, they won 40-0. They knew that game was going to be a walkover, so they could have been preparing for this game for 2 weeks now. But I like Sean McDermott with a lot, extra time to prepare, assuming that's what's going on. I could be wrong on that, but it's just an assumption. But I think it'll be a really close game, fun Sunday night game, maybe similar to the 36-35 one in Baltimore a couple weeks ago when the Ravens finally beat the Chiefs. So I think it's a toss-up game either way, but I'm going to go Buffalo to win the game outright. Follow the blueprint of the Chargers and Josh Allen, Stephon Diggs to have a big game, 34-31 Buffalo.
You know what? I'm going to surprise you. I'm taking the Bills plus 2.5, just like you.
Yeah.
I really like them this week. When you look at the Kansas City Chiefs, they've really, really struggled defensively. They're giving up a ton of yards and a ton of points, and we know, the last couple of weeks, Buffalo's been putting on an absolute clinic offensively. Now, granted, like you said, the Washington football team, Houston, they're not anywhere close in the same competition as what the Kansas City Chiefs is going to be this week. But offensively, I think they're firing on all cylinders right now, being the Buffalo Bills, and the Chiefs' defense has struggled. And on the other side, the Bills' defense is really, really good, and I don't think the Chiefs have gone up against a defense to the caliber of Buffalo's yet. And yeah, offensively they've been fine. That really hasn't been an issue for them. But you look at what Allen's done, especially the last couple of weeks. I don't know how you can feel confident in the Chiefs right now. Plus, last couple of years, Chiefs have been really, really bad against the spread. Now, I know it's only 2.5 points here. It's not like the usual 6 or whatever it is that it usually is each week here. But I like Buffalo. I think they win outright in a relatively close game, but maybe something like 34-30, something like that.
Yep.
So how about a best bet? Who's someone you really like this week?
Yeah, a couple of games jumped out to me. I like the Vikings a lot. -9 at home against the Lions. Kirk Cousins has never lost to the Lions, and they usually crush them. So, but that seems like too easy. There's another game that jumped out to me. You might think I'm a little nuts here, but the 1-3 versus the 3-1. But I really like the Steelers this week. -1. Just double check if it's 1 or 1.5. But Steelers at home, -1 against the Broncos, who might have to go with Drew Lock. And the Steelers' offense has been awful, and they haven't really given you much reason to pick them. But I love the spot. Like the 1-3, the rest of the AFC North is 3-1. I mean, it's a must-win game. I don't care if it's week 5. They need to win the game. They're probably not going to make the playoffs, but they need to win the game. They need to have a good showing for once. And I think Ben Roethlisberger plays well. I think Tomlin's guys get it together for a week. I think the defense does well against Drew Lock, and it's only 1 point, so basically a pick 'em. So I think that this is a game where the defense comes up. I think it will be close because the Steelers' offense hasn't really done anything, but I think they win like a 17-10, 20-14 kind of game, low scoring. But I think I really like the spot. I feel like the Steelers need to win this game, and at home, I think they show up and play well. So Steelers -1, best bet.
Yeah, it is -1. I just double checked. I like them too this week. I think that's a good pick, Joe. I'm going to go with the Panthers -3.5 over the Eagles. I really like this game. I know the Panthers are coming off a loss here, but I think they bounce back, and I know they just made a big splash today or earlier in the week, I guess by the time you're listening to this, for Gilmore from the Patriots. But I like what they're doing offensively. I think Darnold's done pretty well there. He had a couple of turnovers against Dallas, but I think they get back on track over an Eagles team who, they had a surprising win, a big win in week 1, but I think, kind of came back to earth a little bit here. And going up against a tough defense like Carolina's, I think that's going to be a tough ask for Jalen Hurts. So I like the Panthers a lot this week, actually, at -3.5.
I'm taking them too, but I don't feel as confident. I think it's one of those weird, feels like a trap game almost. But I think Carolina will win, but I'm not sure if it's going to be by a touchdown.
All right. How about a underdog or an upset pick you like?
Okay, so I already took a few with a couple with the Jets and Giants. There are a couple that actually stood out to me. I think that Bengals line +3 is like a sign from Vegas. That's going to be a really close game. I think the Packers will probably win, but I think the Bengals is a good play this week. I also, maybe this is just a crazy week, but I kind of like the Jaguars getting 4.5 at home. Urban Meyer, I mean, he needs to win in the worst way.
Yes.
But I'm going to go with the Cleveland Browns at the Chargers. I think they're getting 1.5.
Yep.
That to me is like the 1A game of the week after Bills Chiefs. I mean, that's a great game. 2 3-1 teams with finally, look like they finally got the right coaches there after so many bad coaches. But Kevin Stefanski and Brandon Staley. I think the Browns defense has played really well. I mean, they gave up a touchdown last week on the opening drive at Minnesota, and then nothing else on the next 11 drives. That's pretty impressive. Minnesota has a good offensive team, and Kirk Cousins has been lights out. So that was impressive. And, I mean, the Chargers have been great too. But in those close games, I feel like Kevin Stefanski, he's shown that he can win these close games. And the Chargers, I mean, they have a bad history of losing a lot of these close games.
Yep.
And I know it's a different era now, so maybe that's not fair. But I like the Browns' two-headed rushing attack with Chubb and Hunt. And Mayfield hasn't really played that well, but I think he has a bounce-back game this week. I think it'll be a close game. We're watching on Red Zone, tied late with like 5 minutes left. I just feel like, if you like the team to win and they get 1.5, it feels like an easy pick. So, not easy, but I like the Browns to win the game, so why wouldn't I take them as my underdog pick in our segment? So, give me the Browns to get the 4-1 in a close game and maybe a late field goal or something like that. But I think it'll be maybe the best game of the week.
Yeah, I actually agree with you. I'm going with the Browns too for my underdog pick at a +1.5.
I had a feeling. I actually had a feeling. I think Matt might take the Browns too.
Yeah, I don't know. Outside, I know I took both the Bills and the Jets, who are underdogs, but there's not a ton of other underdogs that I love this week, so that one kind of jumped out to me. And I agree with you. I think it's going to be a really good game, but just on paper, I just think this Browns team's better. And their one loss this year, they took. Oh my God, the Chiefs to the brink. They got about as close as you could of winning a game in Kansas City.
They should have won that game, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So while I like the Chargers, I like the head coach and quarterback a ton. I think they're going to be a good team this year. I just think Cleveland's better. And with it only being 1.5, I feel like that's almost a gimme, and maybe that's the kiss of death on this one. But I think they win by, I don't know, maybe somewhere 3 to 5 points, like a 27-24 kind of game. But the Browns get a field goal late and end up hanging on. But I really like Baker Mayfield. I think he bounces back. As you said, he hasn't put up gaudy numbers, but I think they do just enough, and that defense has played really well. So I like the Browns too.
Yep.
All right, so just to run through these quick again, we are both on the Jets +3 over the Falcons in London. I like the Cowboys -7.5, and Joe is on the Giants +7.5. Both on the Bills over the Chiefs at +2.5. My best bet, I'm going with the Panthers -3.5 over the Eagles, and Joe is going with the Steelers -1 over Denver. Underdog, we're both on the Browns +1.5. over the Chargers. So that's going to do it here in week 5. Joe, thank you as always. I'll talk to you again real soon.
All right, Matt. Thanks so much.